guys, my name is Becca and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with my June wrap up. Finally, we are like halfway through July and I haven't made this freaking video yet. I have just felt like it was very intimidating, but then now looking at it, it's not too intimidating. I'm going to be using my iPad for some of the books because I don't have physical copies of them, so I will show you them on my iPad. It's just funny, like normally I have like a bunch of new releases that come out and I've read those, but this month I've read quite a bit of backlist titles over the new releases, so that's good. Also, there's no fantasy, it's like all contemporary. I just didn't read fantasy this month. I didn't read any of my Dark Hunter books this month. I was just in a very contemporary mood. I feel like I still am, but I am reading more fantasy than I was. So it's just a fun fact for the month. In terms of like shows that I watched, movies that I watched, I can't even tell you what movies I saw in June because I don't remember anything. I only remember that I watched K-dramas, or Asian dramas I should say, because not all of them are Korean. I watched Oh My Ghost. That was Korean. That was on Netflix. There is a Netflix original for Oh My Ghost. I believe that's Taiwanese. I don't believe that's Korean. There was a Korean one, and then there was the Netflix original that they remade. I didn't watch the Netflix original, and I personally won't watch it because I enjoyed the original one first, or more, and I just don't have any interest to rewatch it, see the exact same thing with different characters, because I love my characters so freaking much. So yeah, I watched Oh My Ghost. It was fantastic. I loved it. I wish I could tell you to go watch it, but they've since taken it off Netflix, and I'm really bitter about that. I'm very salty about it. I really love that show, and I had to literally binge watch it, and believe me, I would have binge watched it anyway, but I had to binge watch it in like 3 days non-stop because they were taking it off at the end of June, and I was so mad. But I had to like watch it because if I didn't finish it, then I wouldn't be able to finish it. I was just very upset, but it was fantastic and I loved it. And then my favorite Asian drama was Love O, which is a Chinese drama, and I love that one so much. That one's my favorite. That one has a virtual reality gaming aspect for it, and I freaking loved it. That one is on Netflix if you want to go check that out. I suggest you do. It's fantastic. I love it so much. Me and my best friend have just been binging Asian dramas for a while now, for over a couple months now, and we have just had the greatest time. And there's really nothing else I can say. Those are the Asian dramas I watched. I watched more, but I can't remember if I watched them in May or if I watched them in June. I don't remember. Oh, I finished Abyss, which is a Netflix original Korean drama. And that one was really good. I really enjoyed the ending. That one was weird. That one features like aliens and stuff like that, and it's very weird. And also has like not reincarnation, but resurrection aspect, where you're resurrected to look like your soul. So the way you look on the inside is the way you would look on the outside when you're resurrected. And for most people, you look the same, but for like our main characters, they look different. I guess there's a reason for it. I don't really know, but they're special like that. I really enjoyed it. The main actress was one of the main actresses in Oh My Ghost, and I think that's one of the reasons why we picked it up, because it's the same woman, and we're like, yes, I want to watch it because I love her. So yeah. But yeah, those are all the things I think I watched. I don't think I saw any movies. Oh, I did see Annabelle. I saw Annabelle 3. and I really enjoyed it. I thought that was really good. I really enjoyed it. I saw Aladdin again. I love that movie. Aladdin was fantastic. Oh, wait. No. I saw Aladdin in July. And I think I saw it for the first time in May. So yeah, scratch Aladdin. I saw Annabelle. I think that was it. I don't know if there's any other movies that came out in June. I can't remember anything. I mean, the movies that I'm thinking of right now, that was in the very, very beginning of July. So, like Aladdin and another movie, which I'll talk about in my July wrap-up. Yeah, I don't think I saw any other movies in June, other than Annabelle. I could be wrong, I could have, but I can't think of any movies that came out that month, so I have no clue. Alright, so, yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't finish any video games, so I'm not going to talk about if I played any, and like, the real binging I did in July, other than the K-dramas, or the Asian dramas, so, yeah. I'll talk more about that in July then. Okay, so for books. For 2019 releases, I have 3. It's very weird for me. I normally have like a stack, but I guess not this time. So, first up I have The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. Also, no DNFs this month, which was fantastic. I finished everything I started, which I'm really happy about. Okay, so yeah, Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. This is the companion novel to Geekerella, and I have to say I enjoy Geekerella more, but I did enjoy this one. I thought it was an enjoyable read, and this one follows... I could have told you the synopsis when I first read it. Did I tell you it's the middle of the month, of the next month? So I have no idea what any of these are about. We follow Imogen and Jessica. That's right. So that's Imogen and that is Jessica. Imogen is a huge fan of Starfield, which is a fandom that we learn about in Geekerella. And Jessica is an actress who plays the, she plays Princess Amara in Starfield. Princess Amara is Imogen's favorite character, and they're killing Amara off, or they've killed Amara off. People are upset. Imogen is the most upset. She feels that Amara didn't get a fair shot. You know, she was just, how did they put it? Now I can't think. I'm just gonna say that she didn't get a fair shot. She was just killed off to further Carmendor, who is like the star of Starfield. Again, you learn all about this in Geekerella. Jessica is perfectly happy with it. She doesn't want to play Amara anymore. She has just felt this wasn't like a movie she really wanted to do. She wasn't exactly happy, but it was just to further her career, I guess. So yeah, Jessica is happy with Amara dying. Imogen is pissed. There is a new script out for the sequel for Starfield, and Jessica loses her script. And somebody has it, and somebody is leaking it. They're leaking parts, and Jessica could be blamed for this. So Imogen and Jessica end up switching places, so Jessica can go and find a person who has, stolen her script, while Imogen can play Amara, pretend to be Amara, pretend to be Jessica, so she can try to save Amara from being killed off, I guess. That's really the synopsis for it. I enjoyed it. I thought this was... I thought it was a good companion. I can't say that I love these characters as much as I loved the characters from Geekerella, though you do get to see the characters from Geekerella, which were always my favorite parts. I did love the romances that we got to see in this. There were queer romances, which I really love. Even a queer romance between a main character and I'm gonna say, like, there was a main romance that was a queer romance, and I loved it. And then there was a side romance that was also queer, which I loved. But I will say, because I know I've said this before, and I hate saying this, but I have found that in young adult books, I do not enjoy the female-female relationships. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, and I don't know if it's the romance itself that is what's making me dislike the book, or if it's the just the book that I'm not really connecting to, and the romance is just suffering because of that. But I have found that I've just, for every young adult female-female romance, I have found that I have not enjoyed any until this book. I really, really loved the female-female relationship in this. I thought it was really well done, and I really love to see it, even though you don't get to see too much. There is two main romances, so you are sort of splitting time between both. I still really love to see it, and I was really, really pleased with it. There are other queer romances. There are two side queer romances and one main, which I was really happy with. And then there's the female-male relationships also in this. And I really loved all the relationships. I loved all the romances. It was great. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. Wow, I've talked almost, 8 minutes on just that? Okay, we need to stop doing that. Next up I have The Friendzone by Abby Jimenez. This one is about a woman, why can't I think of names, Kristen. She ends up meeting Josh in a car accident. He hits her, and it's a very minor car accident. They end up, driving away from it. It's just a little bump. But still, that's how they meet. They don't have the greatest of meetings. And then they find out that they're both, their best friends are getting married. And they find out they are the maid of honor and best man in this wedding. And they have to, end up getting together to plan this wedding and, do all that stuff. And also, he ends up helping her with a side job, which was really cute. The main thing is that Kristen and Josh end up having feelings for each other, and Kristen has a boyfriend. He's in the military, so he's away. He's on deployment, and so there's a little bit of emotional cheating, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, because she does try to fight it. Kristen has a lot of feelings for Josh. She wants to be with him, but she has a boyfriend, and then there's another factor, which I'll get into. So there is emotional cheating, but she doesn't act on anything until they break up. So I'm just gonna say that. The biggest thing about that's keeping Kristen and Josh apart, though, is the fact that Kristen is having a hysterectomy. She has very major issues with her uterus, and she needs to just get rid of it. Josh wants a big family. He wants a big family. And she feels that she would be hurting him if they got together, because she can't give him that big family. So I really enjoyed this. That's all I'm going to say on it. Read it to find out more, to find out how it ends. I really did enjoy this. Oh my god. The times that Kristen has her time of the month, her period, I was just like, girl, if I had to go through that, I'd kill myself. Like, that's so bad. 11 straight days of just major pain and heavy flow, and oh my god, I would not be able to stand that at all. And just reading that, I was like, wow. For the times that I complain about cramps and stuff, I'm done. I can't complain anymore. Like, this is awful. Yeah. There's really nothing that I can complain about now that reading this. But I did really enjoy it. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I feel like the ending suffered. The ending was just a very cliche ending. And it's not something I wanted to see after reading this book. So I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then the last 2019 release I have is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This one I've talked a lot about, I think, in videos. I really love this book. This is my first Tessa Bailey. And I have to say, this is probably the worst one to start because it's the best. And I have a feeling like all of her other books are just going to pale in comparison to this. I don't know, I might be wrong. I have read one other Tessa Bailey, which I'll get into later, but I mean, this was fantastic. This one is about Georgie, who is a professional clown. That was like the one issue I had. She's a professional clown, and her brother's best friend is Travis. He was a professional baseball player, and then he suffered an injury, so now he can't play, and he's come back home to just sulk. You know, he's gonna be moody and broody about it. And Georgie is trying to cheer him up, trying to like get him to come back into the world and, you know, like be a part of it. It was a very, very cute romance. Don't let this cover fool you, okay? This is smutty. This is so smutty. What I love about Tessa Bailey's books is that it doesn't show off how smutty it is. Like, she has these really nice covers that doesn't show off the smuttiness of the inside. Like, holy crap. Okay, from the very beginning, I think we have like some language that I did not expect happening once I started reading this book. But the reason I picked it up is because everyone's been raving about it. Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads, Mel from Mel to the Any, everyone has just been like raving about this book and how amazing this is. And that's why I picked it up, and I'm so glad that I did, because I gave this 5 stars. I love this book so much. Alright, and so for the last 2019 release that I'm going to talk about, I wanted to talk about in terms of other books, because this is one of the first books that I read in June. Technically this isn't one of the first, but it's the first 2019 release, and that's The Mister by E.L. James. Technically I've been reading this since like April. I listened to the audiobook, and I think I like followed along for the last little bit. This is by E.L. James, who wrote 50 Shades of Grey. It's not good. It's set in London in 2019, and this follows Maxim, who has just lost his brother and has inherited his title as the Earl of Trevethik. Wow. Why is that so hard to say? And all it is the fact that he ends up falling in love with his cleaner, who is Alicia, I think. Yeah, Alicia, and she is from Albania. I want to say she is. I could be totally wrong. I can't remember now. And it's just them falling in love and lots of sex and stuff like that. This wasn't very good. I didn't like the fact that in Maxim's, in his chapters, we had him in first person, and then in Alessia's chapters we had it in third person. I didn't like that. I was just like, why? What's the point then of giving him, like, you know, first person if you're just gonna like switch back and forth between first and third? I really didn't like that. And then also I preferred his chapters to hers. Like, in the audiobook, I preferred his narrator to her narrator, but I just didn't really care for this. I gave this like 2 stars. And I read this for Smutathon, which is why I wanted to include it with other books because I read them all for Smuttathon. I read The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. At least I read half. I read half of this for Smuttathon because I was like halfway through. Same thing for this. I was halfway through in the start of June, or when Smuttathon started, and I really, really loved it. I gave this 5 stars. I've talked about this before. I read it back in 2016 when it first came out, and I gave it like 3 stars. I didn't really care for it as much as everyone thought. I thought it was just average. And then I read it again this year, and I freaking loved it, and I gave it 5 stars. So I'm really happy that I reread it. Everyone should know what this is about. I mean, this is hugely loved on BookTube, and it's just a hate to love like office romance, and I just really, really love Josh and Lucy. I really love them so much. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. And then another thing, like, I read half of, or I read Foreplay, the second story. The first story is Pillow Talk by Maya Banks. The second story is Her Fantasy Men by Shayla Black. So I read Pillow Talk like months ago, and I read Her Fantasy Men for Smuttathon, which I thought was better than Pillow Talk, but really wasn't anything. This is just a bind-up of 2 books that have foursomes in it. It's 3 men and 1 woman. They all go at it, and that's really it. That's really all you need to know. There's really no plot to these. I mean, there is, but it's like it's just meh. I give this like 3 stars, I think. Did I? 2.5. Probably more 2.5. I thought this would be better. It wasn't. It's fine. I wasn't exactly like thrilled with anything, but you know. And so the last 2 books that I read for Smuttathon was The King of... What? Are you kidding me? Here we go. The King of Bourbon Street by Thea DeSalle, as well as... or I reread that, and then I read for the first time the Queen of Dauphine Street by Thea DeSalle. I really enjoyed both of those books. I have enjoyed The King of Bourbon Street before. This was a reread, and then I went straight into The Queen of Dauphine Street and loved it. I think I gave, let me see. I gave both of those books 4 stars. They're just, how should I say, they're very clear, very smutty, and I really love them. The King of Bourbon Street follows Sol, who owns owns a hotel. Like, he owns a series of hotels, but one is set in New Orleans, and we follow him and, God, what's her name? Adriana? He calls her Cupcake, and I love that. And she comes from like a very rich family, and there's a scandal involving her, and so she gets away. She goes to New Orleans, and she meets Sol, and they just have a very, very beautiful, smutty relationship, and I love it. And then Queen of Dauphine Street, we follow Maddie, right? Remember, I can't remember names now because it's been like over a month since I've read all these. I want to say yes, we follow Maddie, who is Sol's ex-wife, and I can't remember his name. I want to say it's Darren or something like that. Maddie is visiting Sol's brother in another, I want to say Chicago or something, but I am like totally not remembering any of that. I think his name is Alex. So she's visiting him, and she meets his friend, and I want to say his name is Darren, and something happens when they're out. His like ex-girlfriend is pretty much trying to have him killed, and so he ends up going on Maddie's like luxury boat where she lives, and he ends up going on there for protection. She has a tiger, okay? She has a freaking tiger, and I love it. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much like the base of the book. Like, I can't really tell you anything else. It's just, yeah, like, he's on her boat for protection. They end up, you know, getting together, hooking up, and it's great, and I love it. And there's a freaking tiger, and I loved it. Yeah, both 4 out of 5 stars. So that was Smuttathon. I read 5 books for that. I mean, technically, I read half of, like, a few books, but it doesn't matter. 5 books. I thought they were... It was an alright Smuttathon. It wasn't great. But that was at the very beginning of the week. Or very beginning of the month, so, yeah. Now let's talk about a series of smutty books, because after that I was like, I need smutty books now. And of course I didn't read any of these for Smuttathon, but they were great. I read The Book Boyfriend by Claire Kingsley, which is all about, oh man, I'm trying to remember, like, what did I say for it? So it follows Alex, who, he's a guy and he writes really smutty romance novels under a female pseudonym. And he meets Mia at a bookstore, and they have this really, really cute bookstore meet-cute where, like, they bump into each other, and I think he, like, spills her coffee or something like that, and he ends up buying her books for her and, you know, taking her to the coffee shop and getting her another coffee, and I'm just like, yes. And Mia is a book blogger, and she, actually knows Alex female, you know, she knows Alex online through his female pseudonym. They are, like, really good friends. She ends up reviewing his books, or, yeah, on her blog, and she doesn't know that he's actually a guy. And when they first meet, they have no idea that, you know, they know each other, until he realizes, and then it's like, alright, I gotta keep it from you at all costs, which I understood why he was keeping the secret. So you know how I feel like I don't really like lies in books unless it can't be avoided, or, you know, there's a reasoning behind it, and I felt there was a really good reason behind him keeping the fact that they know each other. So I didn't mind that. And I gave that 4.5 out of 5 stars. Oh, man. And then I read the sequel, which is Cocky Roommate. This one, man. This one follows Kendra, who is Alex's sister. And it's about her roommate, who is, I want to say, oh man, I can't remember. I think his name is Wes, and that's really it. Like, it's just Kendra and Wes, and it's their, you know, relationship. And at first, it's like very hate to love, like enemies to lovers kind of thing. And I really enjoyed it. I can't tell you anything else about it because I can't really remember much about it. I will say that one got 4 stars. It wasn't my, you know, it wasn't like my favorite. I will say I think my favorite out of the whole series is Book Boyfriend, but the last book, no, what? The last one is Hot Single Dad by Claire Kingsley. That's the final book in the Book Boyfriends series, and that one follows Alex and Kendra's brother Caleb. And Caleb lost his wife, I believe. I want to say she died. And he is raising his daughter. He's a single father, and he's raising his daughter. And yeah, the wife, she did die. Her sister ends up coming to be the nanny for the daughter, you know, to take care of the daughter, while the father is Caleb. He's a doctor, so he doesn't really have like good hours, you know. So she ends up coming just to like take care of the daughter, which I'm sorry I can't remember her name. And that was it's just like about a hot single father and the nanny kind of thing, but also the nanny happens to be his late wife's sister. So yeah, I thought that was really good. I also I forgot about this. I also read okay, hold on. I also read Her Best Friend by Claire Kingsley, which is a short story in that series. It takes place after Hot Single Dad because it follows the daughter and her best friend when they're older. And I thought that was really cute. I ended up giving that... Okay, the daughter is Charlotte. Of course I wrote that down. The daughter is Charlotte and her best friend is Noah. And it's just their romance is really cute. Alright. I've read Getaway Girl by Tessa Bailey. I read this on my Kindle, and I really enjoyed this. Again, like I said, I wanted to read more Tessa Bailey, so I picked this one up. And this one is about... Oh my god. Now I have to think. What is this one about? This one is about... of course I didn't write it. Our main character, who, of course, I can't remember names. Let's see if I can... Okay, we follow Addison and... What's his name? Elijah. Okay. Addison is visiting her sister... No, her cousin. Her cousin's about to get married. And Addison is like the black sheep of the family, so... She really doesn't have to be there, and she really doesn't want to be, but I don't know, for some reason, she's in town, so she decides to just, like, pop in, and she finds out her cousin has ditched, Elijah, who is, actually, I think, in the running to be mayor of the town, or something like that. She's ditched him at the altar, so, Addison ends up being his getaway girl, his getaway driver, and... I mean, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. It is kind of smutty. I did give it 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I loved the romance between Addison and Elijah. And I thought it was really cute. And then I read A Lesson in Thorns by Sierra Simone. This one, I say, is like secret history, but very smutty. I think that's how they say it. And I can't really... What did I write for it? Yeah, it's like... I don't know. It's about, like, these group of kids that were all, like... They all knew each other when they were younger. They've since grown up, and they are back at this, like... this estate that... I don't know. How do I say this? This group of friends have come back together at this estate. And there's, like, cults and rituals and things. It's very smutty. Very, like, hot, steamy scenes that I was just like, hello. Very, like, polyamorous scenes. Well, okay. I wanted to see more polyamory, but I guess... It really wasn't as polyamorous as I wanted it to be. It was, like, I really enjoyed the steaminess of it, and I enjoyed the sex scenes, but the plot, I was just like, it's eh. Like, I really didn't care for that as much, so I gave that 3 stars. What else did I read that I should just use this for? Can you tell I'm, like, really, you know, I've got my stuff together right now. I want to say the only other one is that. Okay. That is fine. Okay. Alright, so the final one that I just have to use my iPad for is Super Fun Sexy Times. I went on NetGalley, and it's part of the read now on NetGalley, so you can just read it whenever you want. It comes out, I think, next month. Yeah, it comes out August 20th. And this is very queer, very sexy, smutty graphic novel that I really enjoyed. I will say, though, that there's like 5 stories in one, and I wanted more. It was really good and I really enjoyed it, but I wanted more. I just felt like each story was just too short, and I didn't get as much as I wanted. It was very sexy, it was very steamy, and it was very queer, which I really loved, but it was just too short, and that's how I felt. But if you're looking for a very queer, like very, very queer, very smutty graphic novel, pick this up. It was really enjoyable, and I gave that 4 stars, actually. Okay, and I think that's it for the iPad. Thank God. So I only have 3 books left, and I told you this was a video that I did not want to make because I knew this was going to be long because I had way too much to talk about with every single one of them. Okay, so first up we have Prince Charming by Rachel Hawkins. This is about Daisy. Her sister is about to marry is it the Crown Prince, or she's engaged to the Prince of Scotland. And Daisy ends up having to go to Scotland with her sister to meet the royal family, and stuff like that. Stuff happens with Daisy where her private life is being scrutinized by the tabloids, and she's forced to join her sister at the secluded royal castle. Yeah. And she ends up meeting Sebastian, who is the younger Prince of Scotland, and his friends, which of course now I can't remember what they're called, which is just great. Yeah, I of course can't remember what they're freaking called. But it's a very, like, hate to love romance at first. Like, it's a very, like, not enemies to lovers, because, I mean, there's no sex in this. But, it's very hate to love, and I really enjoyed that. And it's with a friend of Sebastian's. It's one of his, like, Miles. It's Miles. There you go. And he's pretty much, like, forced to show Daisy around, kind of. But it was just really cute, and I really loved it. I gave this 4 stars. I will say Her Royal Highness, which is the companion book to it, that is going to be a female-female relationship, and I am looking forward to picking that up. Though we'll see how that goes, because I don't have the greatest track record with female-female relationships in young adult books. Okay, next up I read Check Please by Ngozi Ukazu, which is a graphic novel, and it's about a boy who joins his college's hockey team. He was a figure skater, and he joins the hockey team because he knows how to skate. And it's not like the greatest. Like, he doesn't do the greatest. He's very, very afraid of being checked, and he just ends up, he's very out, he's very gay, and he ends up, like, kind of having a big crush on, with Jack. And it's so cute. Eric, who is our main character, really loves to bake, he loves his pies, and it's just, I just really enjoyed this. I gave this 5 stars. I just thought it was the cutest thing in the world, and I cannot wait for volume 2. This was just so freaking cute. It was just wholesome and adorable, and I loved it. Oh, and then you can see, like, his figure skating ways. This is him doing, like, a triple axel. I freaking love figure skating too, so it was great. I just loved it. And then I think this is the last one that we have to talk about. So yay, it's finally over. The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. Oh man, I wish I read this a long time ago. I should have read this a long time ago, but I put this off so long, and I'm not mad that I read it now. I thought this was fantastic, but I'm just like what stopped me from reading it so long ago? I don't know. This is my first Emery Lord, and I'm so happy that I read this. This one follows Paige. Her boyfriend dies in a swimming accident, and it takes place a year later, and Paige is going back to school, and she's just she's pretty much shut out everybody, and she's stopped doing things that she loved doing, and so now it's a year later, and she's decided to like rejoin the world and do the things that she loved to do before, and she has this plan. So first on the list is to go out with Ryan Chase, which is like her biggest crush, her longtime and newly single crush. And last on the list is swim, which is the hardest thing she'll probably ever have to do. But Ryan's cousin Max ends up coming back to school, and they end up meeting, and there's this quiz bowl thing that they're both in, and it's just so freaking cute. I really love this. There is a sequel coming out, I think it's next year. It's called The Map from Here to There, I think, and I am so looking forward to it. I am so mad that I have not given Emery Lord a chance until now. I wish I read all of her other books, and I am definitely rectifying that right away. I cannot wait to read her other books. I do own When We Collided, but I can read Open Road Summer on Scribd because I have it, and I'm just really looking forward to picking this up. I did give this 5 stars. I loved it. I love the romance. The friendship aspect was like probably the best. I love the friend group in this so much. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. If you haven't picked up anything from Emery Lord, if you haven't picked up this book, definitely recommend doing that. And I will say, like, these were probably my 2 favorite books of the month. So, yeah. Alright guys, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was super long, but I had a lot to talk about. I read 18 books this month. Okay, so yeah, I keep forgetting to talk about the TBR goal that I have. I started in March with 135 books, and I'm trying really hard to get it down to 75 at least. It isn't going the way I want it to go. I have been having a lot of hiccups because I have been buying books, and I've been calculating those as well. So I bought 7 books in the month of June, and added them to my TBR, and I read 7, but I unhauled 3. So, and I was at 139. Like, this isn't going the way I wanted to go because I keep adding, and I'm not like reading them like right when they come in, or I'm not reading as many to justify it. So I'm at 136, which is 1 book more than I started with in March, and I am not getting it down at all. I just dropped a book. So it's not going the way I want it to go. If I can just get it down to 100 now, I would be fine. I don't know how that's gonna happen because I am buying so many books and I'm not reading as many. Like, I'm reading a lot on my Kindle, which I need to stop doing because I think that's what's like really getting to me. Like, I'm not reading as many physical books or books on my already existing TBR. Can you see I have a problem? I swear, if I get any, like, if I continue to keep going and, like, keep growing it, I'm gonna be upset. Like, if I cannot get this down at all, I'm gonna be so mad. Alright, so yeah, that's it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you with another happy reading.